All right, so today we're going to be working with multi-step inequalities. Again, I'm sorry that I am not there, but you are welcome to email me at any time. I'll try to get back to you. Wednesday I am having surgery, so I don't know if I'll be available after that, but I will try my best to respond to you as much as possible. You're welcome to ask for help from other teachers, other students, completely fine. So today, you guys practiced yesterday 1 and 2 step inequalities and graphing them. This is a little bit of a refresher. Remember that when you switch the sign, if you multiply or divide by a negative number. So if you look down here at example 1, I'm going to have to multiply by a -6. So that means instead of a less than sign, I'm going to have to flip it to make a greater than sign. I just wanted to make sure you remembered that, since I didn't mention that on the 1-step and 2-step equations that you did or inequalities that you did yesterday. Also, remember that it is an open circle on the number line when you graph it. If it has a greater than or a less than sign, it's the closed or the filled in circle if you are using the less than, equal to, or greater than equal to. You know what direction to point the arrow. If your variable is on the left and you have a greater than or greater than equal to sign, you point it to the right. If the variable is on the left and it is showing a less than or less than equal to sign, then you put it to the left. I always make sure that my variable is on the left side so that it reads left to right. That way I don't have to think, do I have to point it the opposite direction? So there are going to be times when your variable ends up on the right side, so you'll just need to flip the equation so your variable comes first. It's not wrong if you don't. All right, so here is our first one for our multi-step inequalities. Here we have y divided by -6 plus 7. So we're going to solve this just like we'd solve a normal equation. The only difference is that we have more than one solution because it's an inequality. So 9 minus 7 is 2. And then we're going to multiply. The opposite of division is multiplication. So we multiply by -6 to both sides, and I am left with y is greater than, remember, because I need to flip the sign when we do this, because I multiplied by a negative, the number I brought over. And then we have -12. When you are doing your number line, you really only need to have 3 numbers. The number itself, which is in this case -12, one number bigger, which is -11, and one number smaller, which is -13. So in this case, I have a greater than sign, so it is going to be an open circle over 12. Oops, I thought I could just do this. There we go, open circle over 12. And then I'm going to shade or point my arrow to the right. And the reason for that is because it says y is greater than -12. So numbers that are greater go to the right on my number line. All right. So for example number 2 here, we have to distribute first. And we have a variable on both sides. And like I said earlier, you always want to have your variable coming to the left-hand side. So even though it's going to create a negative number, it does make it easier in the end. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to subtract my 10a. And that will leave me with 4a minus 3 is greater than or equal to -11. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So now I have 4a is greater than -4a, is greater than or equal to -8. And then my last step here, is going to be dividing by -4. Remember, since I divided by a negative, I need to flip my sign to say less than equal to, and in this case, it is +2. So I'm going to have 1, I'm going to have 2, I'm going to have 3. If you have more numbers than that, completely fine, doesn't bother me. I'm just letting you know you don't have to write a number line that's 20 numbers long. Here, we are going to have a filled in circle, and the reason for that is because it has an equal to sign underneath the inequality. And it says it is less than or equal to 2, so numbers that are less than or equal to 2 are shading to the left-hand side here. So now we're going to work with example 3. Again, if I'm going too fast at any point in time, go ahead and feel free to pause the video so that you're able to take notes and understand. I'm just making sure that this video isn't 50 minutes long, so I wanted to make sure of that. All right, so here we have 5b minus 3 is greater than 8b minus 12. So I'm going to move my b's to the left-hand side first. So I end up getting negative 3b minus 3 is greater than 12. I am going to add 3 to the other side, and that gives me negative 3b is greater than 15. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3, so I need to flip my sign to become less than negative 5. So my numbers on my number line, I'm just going to move this up a little bit so I had a little more space. 2, 3. So I have negative 6, negative 5, and negative 4. And it is going to be an open circle. And I'm going to point it to the left-hand side because it's saying b is less than negative 5. So that is why I shade to the left. Okay, our next one we have is 10w minus 2 is less than or equal to 7 plus 5w. So this is very similar to the last one. So if you feel confident in this, I would go ahead and pause the video, try it yourself, and then see if you get the correct answer. So if we subtract 5w first, to get all the variables to the left side, I get 5w minus 2 is less than or equal to 7. I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I get 5w is less than or equal to 9. And then I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. So when I divide by 5 on both sides, I'm not dividing by a negative, so it remains negative, or remains positive, and it also remains 9/5. So that it's easier for me to graph this, I am going to do this. This is going to be 9/5, this will be 8/5, and this will be 10/5, or if you want to write 2, that's fine as well. So this is going to be a closed circle, and the reason for that is because we have the equal to sign, and it says it is less than or equal to, so we are shading to the left-hand side here. Okay, we have 2 more examples. These ones are a little more in depth because there are a few more steps that you need to do. So on this one, for example 5, we have to distribute our negative 6 first before we can do anything else. So we are left with negative 3 minus 24x minus 36 is greater than or equal to negative 111. All right, so now I'm going to combine my like terms of negative 3 and negative 36. So that gives me negative 24x minus 39 is greater than or equal to negative 111. So now I'm going to add 39 to the other side. And remember, because this is a negative, it's like subtraction. So 111 minus 39 is 0, and this is 10. So it gives us 1, 0, 10, 71. So we are left with 71. And then we are going to divide by and remember that's a negative, so we have negative 24. And since we have a double negative, it becomes positive. And we flip our sign to less than equal to positive 71 over 24. If you want to reduce it, you can. 24, 48, 72. Nope. Okay, so this would be 2 and 71 minus 48. Oh my gosh. Sorry about Alexa. She exists at our house. All right, 11 minus 8 is 3 and 2. And 23 24ths. All right, so this one, instead of doing fraction, I'm going to show you what you could have done on the previous one instead of using the fractions in the number line. Since we know this is very close to 3, I could do 2, 3, and 4. I know that this is a closed circle right before 3, so I'm approximating it. And again, we're pointing it to the left-hand side. Sorry, all these happen to be less thans, except for our first one, I think. Yeah, our first one was a greater than sign. All right, sorry about that. Okay, and our last example here, combine like terms on both sides first. So negative 8x plus 2x is going to give me negative 6x minus 16 is less than negative 5x plus 7 is 2x. Now, most of you would say, okay, let's subtract the 2x to the other side. Completely fine. We can do that. Just remember that when you do subtract your 2x to the other side, gives you negative 8x minus 16 is less than 0. Okay, so don't forget that there is still something left on that side. Now we will add 16 to both sides. And we are left with negative 8x is less than 16. And then we are going to divide by negative 8 on both sides. And again, because we divide by a negative, we flip the sign. Finally, we get a greater than sign. And we have negative 2. So this will be negative 3, negative 2, and negative 1. It will be an open circle. And it will be shading or pointing the arrow to the right-hand side because x is greater than negative 2. And I believe that's all my examples. Yes, okay. So that's all my examples for today. There is an assignment on Canvas that you can do for today if you finish early. That way you have that. Otherwise, just get it done before 8 a.m. tomorrow and then submit it on Canvas as well. If you have questions, ask your classmates. You're more than welcome to do that. You can ask the sub as well. I'm not sure if the sub will know because sometimes they don't understand the higher math. So I just want to make sure that maybe they aren't sure either. If you have questions, email me. I am available, and I hope you guys have a great day.